Nigeria's failure to address the leadership challenges facing the country could spell doom, as the need to elect leaders who are not only idealistic but realistic at the 2023 general elections has become very important. The country is facing a plethora of issues and is looking for a leader, or in quote, a savior who would help bring back the good days that Nigeria has always been known for. Now, aside the issues of insecurity and various forms of criminality, the country is also suffering from economic woes as more Nigerians have dropped below the poverty line in the last decade. 2023 is now the focus of Nigerians for another fresh start after what many have said is the Buhari's government failure to tackle those economic indices. Now, the issue of the country's leadership recruitment process is being put in the spotlight. Well, for more on this, I'm now being joined by Yabagi Sani, who is the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, which is the body of all political parties in the country. So good to have you here, Yabagi Sani.
Thank you so much.
And let's talk about the leadership recruitment process in Nigeria, the leadership question, as we head to May, when the political parties in the country will begin the process of leadership recruitment for all political positions across the country. What should Nigerians be hoping to get in the crop of new leaders that we're hoping for?
Well, thank you very much. You know, if you look at the fundamentals as far as recruitment process of leadership is concerned, the way we have it now in this country, believe me, is below the average, meaning that what we have today in place cannot, give us the kind of leaders we want in terms of the process that we follow. Because take it from the political parties in the first instance. The political parties are parties that are put in place by individuals. And to worsen the matter, government is not in any way funding these political parties. Nigerians themselves are not even paying the fees. Like if you become a member of a party,
the dues,
you are supposed to pay certain registration fees and things like that. They don't pay. What parties do is just buy these things up and then distribute to them and give to them. So, if you are not getting money from the members themselves, members are not funding the party. Government that created the party by the constitution is not funding the party. Then what do you expect? It will be in the hands of the money bags, so-called money bags, because you must, if you have to contest elections, if you have to carry out all the requirements that is needed, you need the money, no matter how you look at it. So, yes, we need to have new leadership, but the process, the machinery that we have in place today does not give me that, confidence that if this is what we are going to use to produce those leaders, I don't know. Because the common man, let's face it, has no say in the process. He has little or no say, regardless of what people are telling us that INEC. I know INEC on their own part are doing a lot in terms of ensuring that this process is as transparent as it can be. This digitalization that they are embarked upon is to make sure that end of the day, the process, gives you what that means. Votes will count at the end of the day. But how do you even get the votes? It's like garbage in, garbage out. Because these people that are coming to vote, the machinery, that is the political parties, they don't own the political parties. From the recruitment, I'm talking about the primaries now. The primaries would have been something that you will come and then say, this is what I want. Look at what happened in the last two primaries that you had, from the elections into the APC and even PDP, for that matter. It was consensus. And then the members have no choice. They have no say, because the man who brings you there, who pays your way to the place, who gives you accommodation, who will pay you money to go back, you will even demand the money from him. So the man says no, you can't vote. It's we have a consensus, and that's what. So
the process is already rigged.
From the beginning, it's rigged.
Very interesting.
And this is the reality. I'm telling you the reality of the situation, because this is why Nigerians must wake up themselves. If we really want good leaders, then we have to pay what it takes to to get good leaders.
To pay the price now, you're suggesting that it's either Nigerians actually fund the political parties by paying their party dues, or we go back to what INEC used to do, where the government funds political parties through INEC, but that process was corrupted by political parties themselves, which is why that funding had to be withdrawn.
No, well, if something is corrupted, what do? You don't just throw away the baby's bathwater. No. You look at what is wrong with it, because even the so-called developed democracies, they have a way of funding one way or the other the process. So how come you come to a situation like developed economy? Developing economy. In fact, the ravaged economy that we have in this country, and pauperized individuals, people that cannot even feed themselves. Now you want the person to now exercise his franchise and assert his choice. How does he do that? When even to come to Abuja, where he's going to cast his vote, somebody has to pay his way.
That's talking about the delegate system.
Delegate system that we have.
When you use the indirect primary system.
Exactly.
Now, so this is actually important, because it is the candidates that you political parties throw to us, the members of the public, that will have to vote for. So Nigerians need to take the party primaries more serious. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Funds the party primaries.
Exactly. And then pay your dues. Pay the party dues so that you can have a say. And refuse taking money from anybody if you really want to have your say. So this is why we cannot, be deceiving, ourselves that we want recruitment of leaders in a way that to be independent of of the money bags and things like that. That cannot happen.
Isn't that the reason why President Buhari initially was in love with the idea of direct primaries, because it gave party members opportunities across the country to vote without leaving their places to want to come to Abuja, for example, to do a national delegates voting system? But how come the same President Buhari, for example, who was in love with that, direct primary process, is now saying that, look, it's too expensive, it's difficult, and let's just go to the delegate system where you just gather a group of party members in one venue and then they elect.
He knows that even the one that produced him, it's not that cannot meet the basic requirements. I'm talking the minimum requirements, of an election. Because an election that you don't have a recourse, where's membership registration? How can somebody come and say you are doing direct primaries, don't have membership register of people who are voting? Somebody in APC can come and vote in PDP, or somebody who does not, and then he's just giving, they give him money, he casts his vote and go away. So the problem is that we must go back to the basics of having a credible election, credible leadership. People and Nigerians must own this process. And if you don't own it, if we don't pay the price, please don't expect anything different from what has been happening. Now,
shouldn't that credible process begin with the political parties? How do we have credible political parties that are not hijacked by money bags?
Well, how you have credible political parties that have not hijacked by money bags in this scenario, in the situation we are in today, that the APC government has, put us in, where you have the economy at its in tatters, you have people killing each other. People cannot even pay school fees. They can't feed themselves. They can't do anything. In that circumstance, democracy could be luxury to somebody who cannot, even afford the basic requirements. His physiological needs and the safety and everything. He maybe in some cases he even have a full roof over his head. So these are the things that Nigerians must interrogate. We must come to terms with the reality of the situation we are in, and know that we, the citizens, really, have a lot to do in terms of ensuring that we have a good, system of producing credible leadership that will deliver the so-called dividends of democracy. But under the system we are having, if this is what is going to continue, then we may not get the change that we are looking for in the manner that we want it.
Now, you are the national chairman of a political party, and you head an organization, the Inter-Party Advisory Council, that's the body of all political parties in the country. Do you people actually discuss these issues of high cost of forms? Because if someone truly wants to come out to serve Nigeria, why should you be putting the price of a cost of form, at 35 million, and then expression of interest form at 5 million, making it 40 million, for example, as we are seeing in the PDP? Just to serve Nigerians.
If you want to run a proper election, a serious election, you need to talk about logistics. the person must move from one point to the other, isn't it? He has to move his members from one place to the other. And if the party is to do it, or the person has to do it, then you have to give the party money. Where does the party get the money from? To pay for, how much do you buy a liter of petrol today? How much do you buy, food or something like that? So look at the inflation, look at the poverty level, look at everything that is happening, and then you want somebody now to move around this country to go and sell himself and go and lecture people and then just go away and they will listen to him. The realities are what I'm just talking about. I am the chairman of the political parties, but I'm telling you the realities we are facing. That until Nigerians wake up, this is the truth about the matter. That this is not about money, it's about your future, not only your present, and it's not something that money can buy. Because in other countries where democracy is working, they don't allow themselves to be criminalized or to be reduced to ordinary commodity. That you can just pay money and then pick as if you are buying something off the shelf. So until we change that, which is the reality of the situation, we cannot dream to have something different.
But can't political parties actually change that by reducing the cost of forms so that you can have better participation from Nigerians that are more credible?
I'm not for high cost of forms, but what I'm telling you, which is the reality of the situation, is that if somebody wants to run for the president of this country and he has to go around, and you expect the party to organize primaries, organize this, organize that, bring people from their houses to go back, where are you going to get the money from? That's the point I'm making.
So it's expensive running our democracy.
Certainly, even so-called developed democracies, you spend billions really to run democracy. So we must not daydream, thinking that if we just say, oh, we want to change, we want credible leadership, we want this, it will happen. No, and the political parties, any serious political party, will not give you his ticket free, Because if he gives you free, then he's not going to organize anything for you. Where does he get the money to organize?
You've raised some very important points. I'll just ask you to hold on there while we go on this short break. When we come back, we'll talk about this because it's very, very important to understand how the process brings out the candidates that the public eventually elect. You're still watching the Arise interview. When we come back, the conversation continues. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Somna Sambo, and my guest is still the National Chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, and who is also the National Chairman of the Action Democratic Party, Yabagi Sani. He's an engineer and well-known Nigerian who's versed in several issues, and we've been discussing these issues of leadership recruitment through the process of party primaries, which will begin next month. And it's from there that candidates will be thrown out for the public to actually elect in the 2023 elections. And I come to you about this issue of party primaries. That's right. Very important in your phrase, because once a candidate emerge from the party primaries, which is the first level of leadership recruitment, the next thing is that political parties are bound to support each of their candidates, market them, take them to the public, and then also prepare a manifesto that will align with that of the individual candidate and then the party. Now, tell us why this process is expensive to market the candidate.
Well, it's expensive because that's the nature of politics. That's the nature of democracy. Democracy is about the people, isn't it? It's for the people. Meaning that the people are expected to fund the process. Or the government that is there representing the people, knowing fully well that this is the most important activity that a government must ensure it is done properly, must find a way by which you fund the process. That's why I kept saying, even America, they fund activities of political parties once, you participate in the election. But here, you come and say, no, I don't give anybody anything. And then this is, tell me, which agency of government created by the Constitution that is not funded? Political parties are created.
Well, the media is created by the Constitution, but we don't get funding.
But the media, you have a way of making your money. I mean, you do adverts and things like that. Yes, you might say that political parties are also supposed to be innovative
in getting this membership, because some of you have not digitized your electronic membership, for example, you don't know many of your members.
No. Like ours, go to www.adp.ng. you will find, our portal there. And if you want to know how many we are, you will find it there. So anybody, all our members today are registering online because INEC is a requirement in any case. No party has a choice now. They have to do it. Those who are not doing it now, they should do it because you have to submit both the hard copy and soft copy of your membership register to INEC. Before you do your primaries and before it to be accepted as something that is within the law.
Especially in the case of you wanting to do direct primaries.
Exactly,
because you must have a concise list of your
members, so that which can be verified. So that's why I believe that as far as that process is concerned, digitalization is the way. INEC itself, it's all the process of INEC. In fact, interaction with INEC now is all digitalized. Everything about the election, is digitalized. So, but again, like I was telling you, political parties, are really not finding it easy. I'm not talking about those who are out just for the sake of being out. If you are really out seriously to ensure that you form a government, then it's a Herculean task in this country because people are poor, like I've said before. Government has refused to come to the aid of the people. Where government should come to the aid of Nigerians, they refuse to. I don't know who advised President Muhammadu Buhari to say don't fund parties. What are you talking about? This is the most important business.
Yeah, the government says it doesn't have enough money to provide the services that Nigerians need. So that's why.
So where are we getting the billions? Where is PDP and APC getting the billions that they are spending?
Are you inferring that they are taking it from the public purse?
Of course. Where else? They won't allow you to touch their businesses if they had any. If they have any. Most of them, the only business they have is government. So they dip hands in the treasury and then distribute it to their members. But that's not the way it should be. It should have been done properly so that the members will not, so that the governors will not dip hands into the government treasury, and then be distributing billions that they will steal again because the party members also know that this is stolen money. So even the managers of the parties also are stealing.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you. For example, in the People's Democratic Party, the last government of Uche Secondus, last administration of Uche Secondus, there were accusations that monies left to that administration by the previous leadership of PDP was not properly accounted for, especially from the sales of forms. Because this is the time, let's be very frank, this is the time when political parties scoop a lot of money from candidates. From, for example, if you are having 13 to 15 presidential aspirants paying 40 million naira each, that's a huge sort of amount of money. And then you go cascade it to governors, to senators, House of Rep aspirants, State House of Assembly, and all of that. Isn't that money enough to be able to drive the process? Why is it that accountability is also an issue in the leadership of political parties?
Because people bring in the money, they know they are thieves. They stole the money from the government. Those who they give the money to also know that this money is not from their hard-earned money. So it's easy come, easy go. That's why nobody accounts for anything. Otherwise, if it was the money contributed by the individual members, believe you me, they would dare not touch such money and then go scot-free. No. But because okay, who is going to ask you? The governor who gave you the money is not his money, so does he care? If you spend it.
Some members, have been trying to care because, for example, we had Kasim Afegbua, who's a member of the PDP, even writing to the EFCC, and that process is still undergoing investigation and it's not yet concluded. You will always have some members who are interested in knowing what exactly happened.
I understand, but it will get to a limit where it can't go further because it's a cycle, isn't it? It's a vicious cycle. When you say, okay, you gave us how many billions? Where did you get the money from? Or the governor, where's the money? Who gave you the money?
Let's talk about the previous times when political parties were funded. Exactly. That's when we heard that mushroom parties and briefcase parties were being formed. People just form a small political party, come around, get monies, and then disappear. What's your reaction to that?
People form, but that can be checked. Like INEC did something last year, isn't it? They registered political parties, for not meeting certain requirements, isn't it? The same way, these ones that you say come and then there's form party just to get money, you can investigate and find out. And once you find out that this is what they have done, which is not in line with the laid down procedure, you register them. So it's not to say you throw away the baby with bathwater and say, no, they are stealing. If you say they are stealing, the ministries are not stealing. Why don't you close down the ministries? Like all the ministries you have in this country. They are all stealing our money now, we know. Governors are stealing.
The government says it's fighting corruption.
How? By inducing more corruption in the whole system? Because how do you fight corruption, in the manner that this government is doing it? They too know that this is not what Buhari wanted to do. He just found himself in a helpless situation, and unfortunately he can't resign. Unfortunately, this is not a country where people honorably resign.
And that's because opposition political parties like you are not putting pressure on the APC. Well, Nigerians say that you have failed the country by not holding the APC to account.
Everybody has failed, including that Nigerians are saying political parties have failed. Who says a Nigerian too cannot go to court and then say that this person has stolen so much and then he should be brought to court? But I also agree that yes, we have a lot to do because we are the one who says we want to be the watchdog or we want to change the government that we have in place. That's why you have opposition parties, and that's what we are trying to do. But the issue now is that if you do not fight the cause of the problems from the roots of the problems, if you don't fight and solve the problem, this corruption that is there in this country, the fact that APC, PDP government are getting money from the government coffers, and we all know about it, and nobody is saying anything.
Well, the anti-graft agencies have been doing some things. I mean, taking orders to court and all of that. You don't believe that the EFCC and ICPC are doing enough, including the police?
Well, I can't. There's a lot of motion, but no movement, really, in terms of what they are doing. And they too, believe you me, they are handicapped to a very large extent. If you the AFCC people, the ICPC and all these things, they also have their own challenges. Believe me, it's not that they don't want to perform, but they have to perform under an environment that allows you to perform.
So are you inferring that the Buhari administration is not allowing the anti-corruption agencies to work? And especially, I would like to get your view on the state pardon granted to the likes of Joel Inyame and former governor of Plateau State, Joshua Daria, and all of that.
Well, you see, you don't kill corruption by unnecessarily, killing the spirit of people wanting to do, to be part of government, because we see sometimes this pardon, normally comes as a result of a way of encouraging people, but not encouraging them to be corrupt. Meaning that because because we're all human, maybe they give the benefit of that okay, as a human being, you could have few failures in the system, isn't it? But punish them. But don't kill them. It doesn't mean that you kill, you punish, you correct, isn't it? They have gone. The assumption is that they must have learned their lesson. If they ever had an opportunity to be in government again, I'm not sure they will do it the same way that they did before, because they must have gone through a lot. But by the time they come out, so I'm not in any way indicting or questioning the rationale of giving them pardon, because to me, perhaps it's a way of reforming. It is you are not supposed to completely destroy.
Now, what do you make of some views, within the public space, that the APC's fortunes are dwindling drastically, and that's why the APC is trying to let go some of these politicians so that it can see if you can use, the freeing of this set of politicians to actually win certain states. For example, you go to Taraba State, you go to Plateau State, maybe APC is trying to use this opportunity to win more votes. That's why they have to set this former governors free,
people are not stupid.
Alongside some other
why you cannot completely, really disagree or completely condemn, that approach, is that if you remember, Chief Odumegu Ojukwu, of blessed memory, also, was pardoned by the administration, isn't it? Yes. This man who committed treasonable felony, isn't it? But he's allowed to come back to participate in the government, even run for presidency.
Yeah, he ran for presidency several times
and things like that. So the situation is not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a reform, to reform the system. Let people have confidence. Let people know that if you run foul of the law, you are going to be punished. But don't make it in a way that people say, no, maybe they will kill me or something like that. So I think, because there are some places where they even say they don't, some countries, they don't even agree with capital punishment, no matter what.
But how come ordinary Nigerians, are not being given the same opportunity? Why is it that it's the political class that seems to be favoring those who are among them, by giving them this pardon? Why don't that prerogative of mercy.
Yes, they do it now. They do it on every Independence Day or something like that. They can do that. And I don't think there's anything bad, depending on the case, merit of the case. It's supposed to reform, the individual. It's not that you want to kill the person completely. So that's why I don't see anything wrong with it, in that perspective.
Because the law allows it.
Yes, it allows it, and it's okay. But when a government that's supposed to fight corruption, I'm not talking about dead cases, because that's just like the diarrhea and all these things. Those are mortuary cases. I'm talking about life cases, which they are supposed to really come out very strong on and then fight. Those are the ones that we expect them to fight, to ensure that you don't allow people to go scot-free. You know that this person has stolen money, or that so much money, that crude oil is being stolen. Almost 90-something% of the crude oil is being stolen, and nothing has happened. No one person has been taken before the court, in front of until now. And when government itself discovered that this is what we are losing, so who stole it? Somebody must have stolen the crude oil. Which is our source of money.
You are in that sector.
Yeah,
and you know better.
So the point I'm making is that you're talking about diarrhea and the Jolly Yami. I want them to pursue this case of crude oil, our money, the Commonwealth. Yes, that people are sitting comfortably in their offices and they know them. They don't go after them. So, and then they came out with the results, the report themselves. And we know that this money is being stolen. It is in the private pockets.
Okay, very interesting. Let's get back to our topic. Why should Nigerians trust political parties, irrespective whether they are big parties or small parties, to give us the right candidates that will help to change the country as we head to 2023? Because let's face it, we are facing a succession presidency where the president won't be on the ballot.
Yes.
So there's no advantage. Maybe the only advantage is that APC is in power.
Yes. Yes, I believe that, if you look at the history of other countries, China, Indonesia, Malaysia, and all these things, some of them have gone through maybe not as bad, but maybe as bad as the situation we have today. But through the system, the fact that you have the opportunity, and people, I'm sure Nigerians, more Nigerians today know that it will not pay for them to reaffirm, the government of APC. No matter who they field, because every person that is in that government, has a question to answer. They must tell Nigerians, how did we get here? Well, what were you doing? Are you
saying that people like Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who is seeking the presidential position to take over from his boss, has more explanations to give to Nigerians?
Exactly. If he has fear of God, he will not even come out to say, I want to contest.
Is it not within his constitutional right?
To do what? To kill Nigerians, to kill us more, and then ruin our economy completely.
Well,
and then we lose the country completely, because nothing, they have not shown anything, any capacity, any credibility, any plan, any foresight, for this country. And they are in that government. They want to disown Buhari at this point in time. They don't know him. They didn't bring him. Is he not head of the economic council of this country? Where else do you take economic policies that would have brought this country out of the doldrums?
So are you?
And the same person now has the audacity to come out and say, I want to be president. Nobody in that APC should be allowed. Look at Amici. Look at all these things. The man is responsible for people being kidnapped, who today nobody knows what is happening to them. There's no sane country will sell you those facilities of billions of dollars without asking you to take those security gadgets as part of it. But because this is Nigeria, where anything goes, and they take people for granted.
So Nigerians should question those who are coming out
Certainly,
from
this
they have, government to contest for the presidency more.
They must explain to Nigerians, how did they allow Buhari to go this bad, to go this below the minimum?
They don't think Buhari has done bad, because from what most of those in government are saying, Buhari is one of the best things that has happened to Nigeria in recent times.
What else do you want? But they know, deep down, they know that what they are telling you is not the truth. How can Buhari be losing his relatives, in drops? In the north, people are being killed like chickens, and you are telling me, what kind of government is that?
I'm curious to know what the APC will be using to campaign to Nigerians when the political party campaigns eventually start formally.
Well, they will maybe be banking on the fact that they will bring out all the monies that they have stolen, the billions that they have stolen from the crude oil, theft that we're talking about.
Well,
and then the forex, and the forex mismanagement.
There are no facts attached to it that is the members of the party that are stealing that money.
And mismanagement of our forex, administration that they have done, like the central bank governor, I mean, you cannot manage even the monetary policy of this country for us to have a strong, currency, and you have the audacity to come out and say, I want to be president.
Well, he hasn't said he wants to come out to be president. I mean,
yeah, but
support groups have been calling on him, just like other Nigerians are calling on other political parties.
Will come out and say, I have nothing to do with this. I have a job to do, and that's what I'm concentrating on. That's what he will have told Nigerians. I have a job to do. I haven't done, the best. I have not given my best in this job. I want to make the best of this first.
Well, he hasn't formally said he's contesting. At least we've seen Vice President Yemi Oshibajo coming out to say I'm contesting. Who is called Amechi coming out to contest.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is that I said he could clear his name, and Nigerians will respect him for that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him saying in statements that he wants to concentrate on doing his job and he shouldn't be distracted by all these groups and so many others.
No, he knows people who are printing posters and who are going all over the places.
Well,
he knows
isn't that how it happens? I mean, you have contested for presidency before. No, sometimes some support groups just come out.
If I call my friend that please stop this, I'm not interested in this, and he knows I'm not interested, he will not do it. He's doing it because he wants favor from me, isn't it? I say, if you do it, I'll not patronize you anymore, or I won't be your friend anymore.
Okay.
So
let's talk about preparations for the party primaries. We are seeing, for example, political parties shifting their presidential primaries almost close to the deadline. I mean, some of the big parties you see, like, for example, PDP started at May 28th to 29, APC proposing 30th to 31st, and all of that, very close to the deadline, which is June 3rd. Now, why is it almost like there's always this cat and dog fight, especially between the top political parties, who have to wait until close to the deadline before they eventually hold their presidential primaries?
Yeah, because...
Are they afraid of the kind of candidates that may be thrown by any of them?
Yeah, you know that it's not a normal situation we have in this country, when you talk about, especially those two atrophied two political parties who really should not be allowed to exist as a political party, as political parties in this country. And I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility, because if, as a political party, this is what you can give to this country, in terms of how we have deteriorated, in terms of retrogressiveness of our economy, in terms of insecurity, that is the order of the day today, in terms of the fact that our citizens cannot find jobs, inflation, as a hyperinflation, and then still, you come, start from PDP up to APC, and of course, like they are the same, it's those, those as you find, like what is happening, this afternoon, the man is here, by evening, he's either is in PDP or APC, so they are just playing yo-yo with Nigeria as a country. Yeah,
so, but do you think that Nigerians have the capacity to elect a president outside these two big parties?
I think they do. Nigerians do.
And those political parties are available at the moment?
We are available. Like ADP is there. Action Democratic Party is there.
Okay, well, just tell us more about your party, because a lot of Nigerians want to know how prepared you are to actually serve as an alternative to the APC and PDP.
We are very, very prepared. But, preparation doesn't mean you don't have to make too much noise, because this is not the time to even, make such noise, because it's just because they are not organized. That's why you find them fighting each other. We're not even talking. They're not even talking to the electors yet. That's among themselves that they are fighting as much as you can see. So, but parties like our parties, believe you me, we have very, very good plan for this country. We know what to do, because we know where things have gone wrong, and we know what we can do for this country that will change the scenario and change the life of Nigeria, a lot of Nigerians, in a manner that you never think is the same Nigeria. Because what does it take? Believe you me, if we come to government, by the grace of God, we will come. Just face NNPC, the oil and gas sector. It is not for nothing that God put it there for you. You are earning more than 80% of your revenue to run the economy from that place. if you look at the backward and forward linkages between the other sectors of the economy and that economy, even domestically, people say oil and gas does not contribute more than 10%, but other sectors contributing like agriculture and service industry, they all draw their strengths and energy from the oil and gas sector activities happening there. So a sensible government will have concentrated on that sector, make sure you organize it. Look at Singapore.
Isn't that the reason why we have the Petroleum Industry Act passed?
It's a swindle. I always say it. Petroleum industry is a swindle. The biggest swindle.
How do you mean that?
How do I mean is that they promised you that they are going to give you transparency, accountability, and what have you. How did the foul fuel that came into this country, which put Nigerians into unnecessary hardship, how did it pass through the regulatory agencies put in place by that agency? How?
The PI is just being implemented.
No, people are there. No, they moved them from the DPR, and some of them to form. It's not that they don't know what they are doing. They are not greyhounds. They are not just employed. You know, these are senior managers that know what they are doing. But because of corruption, because the PI itself is a swindle, is something that is made to further make this country to be milked in a way that you can never imagine. That is why it's not after PIA that you hear of 98% of our revenue being stolen, of the crude oil being stolen. Is it not after PIA that they are telling us that people are not, they say the investment they were expecting that will come in drops, you know, to show up our reserves and then pump money into the oil and gas sector. How much investment has come since the PIA was passed? None. In fact, what you had was the reverse. They are selling their assets. Shell, Mobil, ExxonMobil, and what have you, they are selling their assets and leaving the country. So if PIA was meant to really deepen the economy, make our economy to perform better than before, why should those things be happening?
Well, as we try to round off very quickly now, are you contesting for the presidency again? Because you once did.
Well, I did, you know, based on circumstances. If circumstances presents itself that I must present myself, I will, because I know I have a lot that I can offer to this country. Believe you me, I know what is happening in this, why our economy is not performing the way it's performing. And that's what I always say. This economy is the easiest economy, believe you me, that you can turn around. Because you have all the ingredients, all the things required. You have the people, the young, dynamic, you know, Nigerians that are looking for jobs. You have the raw materials. You have, so what is it that you cannot do? Fighting insecurity. Why do we have a standing army of over almost 500,000 people that cannot fight ragtag, you know, armies that are killing us, you know, every day, and in just a small enclave, you know, doing same thing the same day everywhere, every day, and you cannot stop it. So the issue is that there's conspiracy at the top against the people of this country.
All right. Engineer Yabagi Sani, we must say that our military is now up to 500,000 people, as you're saying.
Paramilitary, look at the NCST, look at the police, look at all these things. You add them together. What are they doing?
Well, we must
security, they're supposed to provide security for the country. That's the essence. That's why you have them as paramilitary too.
That's the more reason why Nigerians respect people like you to throw your hat in the ring and contest for the presidency, since you have the solutions. Well, we must thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yabagi Sani is an engineer and national chairman of the Interparty Advisory Council, and he's also the national chairman of the Action Democratic Party. We must thank you for being on the show today. Always a glad opportunity to actually interview you anytime we talk together. Is always very interesting, and we wish you well.